And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience, and I've continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's make it 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FV Show, we're going to continue our Week 3 game previews, breaking down every single Week 3 matchup, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, the Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you are excited for this game preview, be sure to hit that like button down below, like an open receiver downfield. Also, smash that subscribe button like a power running back up the middle so you never miss a video from me. Also, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FF Vulture. Mainly Twitter, like that is the place where I'm trying to get everybody to go to. Why? Because I tweet out any basically, the way that my videos work is I can't get to every single news bit because I'm either recording things in advance or just the way that my video structure is set up where it's just game by game. If something happens, like for example, right, I was going to record my Titans and Vikings preview on Wednesday. And then Thursday, A.J. Brown was ruled out. So had that happened, I wouldn't be able to redo that video and then talk about A.J. Brown being out, right? So because Twitter is just such a quick way for me to really just it's such a quick way for me to just dive and just respond back to news pieces. I love doing it there. I love answering the start-sit questions, the trade offers, and just anything fantasy football related over there. But moving on to what the content you guys actually came here to see instead of me talking about social media and how much I love Twitter, let's talk about this game between the Texans and the Steelers. I almost kind of got into it with Mike Clay of ESPN a little bit this week. He was tweeting out, this Week 3 slate and just the games that he liked, and he thought there were a lot of great games, and he included this one on the list. And I'm like, wait a second here. The Texans are 0-2. They aren't a good 0-2. Granted, those 2 games were against the Ravens and the Chiefs, so they were kind of doomed to start 0-2 to begin the 2020 season. But Deshaun Watson has played great. But this Texans team overall has not looked good. So I was a bit confused on why he threw that into this gem category for the week. And then he kind of rose to my ass saying that I've never seen Deshaun Watson play. Hint, I have. But anyways here, on the other side, actually, we'll stick with game notes for the Texans just a little bit here. Deshaun Watson, just going back to him for a quick sec, he looks like a dude who needs the number 1 wide receiver. And if only the Houston Texans had one, right? Didn't they just have a top 5, top 3, top 2, top 1 wide receiver in the NFL? What was his name again? Was it DeAndre Jumpkins? No, DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, they traded him, didn't they? Sucks to suck, right? That's what happens when your head coach is also your general manager. So I feel so bad for Deshaun because Deshaun is being asked to do so much and you literally trade away one of the most valuable targets in NFL history. I think DeAndre Hopkins' career target percentage is like 25 or 26%, and that's just absurd. That is absolutely massive. Going over to Pittsburgh, though, this offense looks just like it did in 2018. They're 2-0. Big Ben utilizing Diontae Johnson very similarly to to Antonio Brown. A.J. Brown was still on the brain from talking about the Titans and the Vikings. So Diontae Johnson's being very similarly used to Antonio Brown. Obviously, JuJu Smith-Schuster has moved back to the slot, and he's been productive there. And again, when James Conner is healthy, James Conner is a great NFL running back. So this offense is moving on all cylinders as of right now. And of course, the Steelers defense is absolutely elite. The steel curtain is back. Micah Fitzpatrick, Joe Hayden, Devin Bush, Devin Bush. Who plays for who? There are too many Devins in the NFL right now. Devin Bush plays for the Steelers. Devin White plays for the Bucs. There we go. This defense just held Saquon Barkley in week 1 to like 6 rushing yards. Absolutely insane. And so, this game is kind of going to be a bit lopsided, I think, if I do say so myself. For Houston, moving over to the start sit, you're only playing Deshaun Watson, honestly. And that's just because if this game goes how I expect it to, and the Texans are going to be trailing, Deshaun's going to have quite a few garbage time touchdowns, maybe a rushing score in there as well. But this Steelers defense is just too elite at every level for you to have any confidence in starting anybody else. I just think you put up Watson just because I think you're guaranteed, let's say, 15 fantasy points. this week, just because that's kind of what Deshaun Watson does. On a absolute floor level, you're guaranteed 16. I'm only going to play David Johnson if I absolutely have to. Let's say I have McCaffrey and David Johnson is my number 3 running back. I think you start him then. But I'm not confident in it per se. The passing work for Johnson, it's been there, but it hasn't been a whole lot. And obviously, if they're trailing, then he's not going to be able to get the work on the ground. Let's go back last week to that game against Baltimore. I think David Johnson had like 7 carries or so. Let me pull that up just to verify that. David Johnson. Let's see here. Yep, he had 11 attempts. He had 11 attempts in both games, and just the targets, 4 targets in the air in both games as well. But it's still one of those things where he can very easily get game script proofed out in this game. And not only that, we just saw what the Steelers did to Barkley. Now, who's better, Saquon Barkley or David Johnson, right? So I'm only going to start David Johnson if I absolutely have to. Brandin Cooks, Will Fuller, no. Can I say no here, right? Will Fuller goose-egged last week after putting up 112 receiving yards in week 1. What a kick in the balls that was for me, right? During week 1, I was literally saying you can't start Will Fuller. Comes out and has a 100-yard receiving game, and then the very next week puts up a goose egg. So I would have loved to have those games reversed. But I'm just not excited about starting anybody on the Texans, in all honesty. I think you really only play Cooks or Fuller if you expect those Watson garbage time points to come, right? Because the ball has to go to someone. And if that is the case, then one of those two are likely going to be on the receiving end of said garbage time points. So that's kind of, to me, that's what you're banking on. And that's not a position that I'm comfortable with being in week 3. I understand that there have been a ton of injuries to the wide receiver position, so you might be in a spot where you have to play one of them, and if that is the case, just good luck. Like, thoughts and prayers headed your way. Moving over to Pittsburgh, I'm starting Big Ben, I'm starting Connor, I'm starting JuJu, and I'm starting Diontae Johnson. Again, just those are all those 4 guys. I know what I'm going to get from them week in and week out. Diontae Johnson is a rising star in this league. The target share so far has been unbelievable. I think it's like 31%, something insane. It's higher than JuJu's, which is kind of baffling. But one of the things that we kind of saw the tea leaves, all offseason saying it was coming this way. I'm not starting Chase Claypool after the monster game that he had last week. And if you want to go back and look at the numbers. He finished with 88 yards, 3 receptions, and a touchdown. That touchdown was an 84-yard play. So with the other 2 receptions, it was 2 receptions for 4 yards. And that's just not something that I'm comfortable throwing into my lineup. I need to see the volume increase again, only 3 targets. And if he didn't have that big play, then he would have had an absolutely awful fantasy performance for you. So I'm not in the position where I'm comfortable starting him just yet. I need to see the workload increase for him. But I think that's actually going to do it for my Texans and Steelers game preview. This is another one of those games for me that I feel is actually really cut and dry. For the Texans, you're starting Deshaun Watson, and everybody else, good luck. And for the Steelers, you're going to start the guys who you would normally start. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. I hope you win your matchup this week. You can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. And remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. I will see you in the next video.